my father was not when my father was not well, and Vaidraj Ashok Bhatt basically treated my father through Nadi Pariksha. And as as engineers, we got curious how this particular simple Nadi Pariksha was able to give a lot of insights about my father's issue when different devices, different report cards were not able to do that. And that's how my PhD started at IIT Bombay to figure out how he must have seen the root cause of my father. I worked on variety of sensors, starting from the mic to different optical sensors, different pressure sensors, and so on. Finally, came to this particular sensor back in 2009-10, and I took a printout using these sensors, went back to Vaidyaraj, and just by looking at the printout, he said this is a female pulse, 25, 30 years old pulse. She's having chest pain, and it's due to gases. So ask her to do and so and so. So the sensor was found, and the next journey, the whole journey was about what he actually saw, what he feels, and what is the correlation between the signals or the feeling information to the root cause and so on. So we started with the validation process back in 2016, after 5 years, when some product format is was ready. Dr. Valyathan, who himself is a Padma Vibhushan scientist, now is no more, but he advised me that Indians are very good at science or technology, but we have to make sure that we also create a great product so that it is useful, it is simple, and so on. So Mr. Satish Gokhale of Design Directions, he created this product. The problem statement which we are eventually solving, which I will try my best to solve in next 20 years, is to make sure that we solve the root cause of poor digestion, fear, anger, stress, lack of sleep, finding out and defining the root causes, which eventually emerge as anxiety, cancer, depression, diabetes, and so on. These are all big issues, and if we can find out the root cause, then, and if we try to solve them, then maybe we can at least defer the problem, or reduce the intensity of that problem and so on. Eventually what we are trying to do is bring self-care, home care, Ayurveda, modern medicine, define, standardize in such a way that ultimately it becomes a very integrative lifestyle based kind of system, so that the patient is healthy and happy. Well, our the whole science is about balance, imbalance, prakriti, vikruti, genetic, epigenetic, and so on. And it's a huge problem across. More than 950 million people are suffering. It's already a $6-7 trillion industry, health and wellness industry, out of which Ayurveda currently is about 24 to 50 kind of billion industry, and we have to make sure that the gap which is between, we have to solve it so that Ayurveda reaches out to people in the most possible way. Um, you are all Ayurveda people, so let me not spend much time, but the imbalance comes from various stages, timings, rutu, seasons, habits, family, and so on. So Prakriti, which we have a questionnaire based system. For Vikruti, we have a Ashtavida Pariksha system. And this slide is from my one of my friends, Dr. Bala Pesal of IIT Jodhpur, very closely has combined conventional AI, computer vision, optics, digital sensing to eventually present personalized and preventive. I think it's a great efforts everyone needs to do, so that we simplify Ayurveda in such a way that it gets accepted by the world, so that we become considerable part of the health and wellness industry, commercial wise as well. What, as a technology person, what we are trying to do is collect a lot of data, try to find out the connections, and eventually create insights, knowledge, wisdom out of it, collect the dots in such a way that the domain expert of Ayurveda also accept it, and eventually it is presentable to the people. On one hand, it's more like a validation process where the perception or a phenomena is captured in terms of data. A lot of information is extracted. Rules are generated. Now, AI and machine learning is helpful to create knowledge which is visible, invisible, and so on. And then eventually using this knowledge, create an application for that phenomena. So that is precisely what we are doing. I mentioned about Ashtavida Pariksha. We have started, digitizing most of these other than urine and stools. We have gadgets, phones, cameras, and so on to capture a lot of data from pulse, tongue, eyes, skin, and so on. And we are trying to make sure that from people we collect data in such a way that later on evidence-based methodology can be presented. Next 15-20 slides are going to be on Nadi Pariksha, which has been my last 15-20 years of research. Essentially, it talks about Vatpit cuff, movements, energy, structures. It's a very 5,000-year-old science which scans the entire body, and it is an art, but there is a science beyond Siddhi, beyond experience, and it can be extracted, it can be presented, and that's what we have done with our first product called Naditarangini. It has three pressure sensors which captures the signals on the wrist and presents report cards. The report cards are for practitioners, yoga practitioners, for Ayurveda practitioners, for spa wellness products, and so on. How it works, let me show you a quick demo. I'm sorry, I'm not there to show you the actual demo, but a patient keeps the hand, the doctor wears the sensors, the three sensors are put at the Vatpit cuff locations. You get three graphs, you collect the data for about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds. Eventually, the data is uploaded on the AWS server, and you get a variety of report cards. You get comparison with the optimal signals. You get similar to blood report, ECG report. What are the numbers, whether they are in low, medium, or high range? What are good numbers? What are bad numbers? What could be the associated symptoms, and so on. So, 22 different parameters come out as part of Nadi Pariksha, digital Nadi Pariksha. And it comes with recommendations with respect to diet, yoga, music, aroma, herbs, and so on. So let me tell you what happened behind the system in next two slides. Basically, the pressure on the wrist, which is informed in terms of palpitations, the sensors converted that pressure into electrical energy and digitized this. So let's assume this is a 10-second graph. So in 10 second, tuck, 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 tuck got recorded. If the pulse is less, amplitude is less. If the pressure is high, palpitations is high, numbers are higher, and so on. Actually, you get tuck, 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 similar to, heart rhythm and so on. A good Vaidya with concentration level, his own yoga abhyas experience, and so on, can actually see multiple ups and downs. So there is a lot of inter and intra variability, which a Vaidya will feel and convert that into a measurable or understandable system where, can talk to the patient in terms of variety of dimensions with respect to something like sukshmata, tikshnata, and so on. Let me go back. From Naditarangini, you get a variety, different types of, nadis where graphs are different, patterns are different. Similar to PQRST of ECG, we have the pulse diagram typically has percussion wave, valley, decrotic wave, and tidal wave. But, eventually what we are doing, we are trying to find out patterns which match to sukshmata, kathinta, tikshnata, sthulata, and so on. So, when you feel the pulse, you imagine that in terms of various gatis of Sarpa, Manduka, Hamsa, various informations with respect to the feeling information, and so on. And we are using this particular machine learning approach of understanding data, creating patterns, creating rules, to, eventually help people find where needs to be, we need to solve. For example, established ECG signal, you can see that variety of chambers of ECG creates different, subsets of the signal. The combination of this, when you sum, you actually get a ECG graph, PQRST. So if there is an issue with P wave, we exactly know where to make the, treatment, so and so on. So similarly, we want to make sure that we create a huge database of pulse, so that, and we create a lot of rules so that if the P wave or valley or decrotic wave has some issue, we exactly know where we want to go back. And we are trying to convert, the movement of Sarpa or jumping like a frog or swimming like a swan and so on, We convert that language into understandable intensity, frequency, shapes, lengths, volume, rhythm, that kind of information, so that we can present the visualization, the parameters, the graphs, the comparison to the people, so that the acceptance becomes slightly simpler. A great vision by Dr. Tillu Gangadharan, Dr. Patwardhan, and so on. They have given a full, playbook or rule book for Ayurved people, that if we can know a person from all these parameter systems of Ayurveda, from Saptadhatu, Tridosh, Triguna, and so on, and so many. I mean, I can see there are 108 or more parameters. If we can solve, this is my life goal through Nadi Pariksha and Ashtavidya Pariksha, and to make sure that these are extracted so that we know the present, future of a particular person, maybe past as well. Where to do Nadi Pariksha? I mean, you are all Ayurveda students. We also did, we pressed our sensors the way I showed, and we pressed number of times. Dr. Lad has mentioned about 7 layers of Nadi. Different doctors talk about multiple positioning, multiple points on a fingertip, and so on. And we showed that every level, every point has a different nadi, and that's why it's very complex, it's very informative, and we have to solve this to for the mankind. I think I have already covered, but very happy that 9 research MOUs are in place at 3 institutes. Big projects are already happening with respect to diabetes, hormonal disorders, and so on. Our honorable Prime Minister did mention about us, about the contribution of converting the shlokas from our ancient literature into a presentable language of gadgets, numbers, and so on. Sorry, I'm repeating that. Today, we are impacting about 5,000 people, 10,000 people a day. In next 5 years, we want to make sure that we impact 50 lakh people a day through technology, using Ayurveda. Um, we are very, very serious about the Ayurveda science. That's why we are making our own hardware. We don't want to rely on optical sensors, mics, or other gadgets which are already there, because they are not capturing the right sensor, the right pulse which Ayurveda has defined. So we have to make sure that India defines its own sensor, its own gadget, and so on. In next 5 slides, let me very quickly show a few results. I've already presented this in World Ayurveda Congress. Many of you might have already seen, but very in simple format, we have presented visualization of Sarpagati, Mandukagati. Instead of imagining, now you can actually show and teach students with respect to what happens, and so on. The first experiment ever I did with Dr. Harish Patankar in Pune was all his students. For variety of days, we gave them mastani, which is very thick milkshake. We gave them pitta provoking ginger tea, vata provoking harbara chana, and so on. And we did variety of pre-post experiments, and we actually showed that nadi expands, nadi contracts, nadi starts moving around, and so on, based on whether we want to increase Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So how basically food works was medicine, how Surya Namaskar increases Nadi Bala, how different parameters change during Virechan, or multiple types of Panchakarma treatments, and so on. We can actually show the efficacy of various treatment processes which are defined. So we just wanted to do experiments to show that even if it takes 5 days, 7 days, 30 days for a process, it is actually making sense and making effects inside the body, which is for long term, and so on. We actually collected data across the year, and we showed how the digestive fire, one of the parameters we get is Agni, Jathar Agni. There are various types of Agni, but currently we are working on Jathar Agni. And, we showed that all people of Pitta, Vata, Kapha, they have different levels of digestive fire. We were able to show that during monsoon season, Chaturmas season, most of the numbers go down. We also showed that morning person is different from afternoon person. Evening, the nadi is completely different. Same data when converted to Hindu calendar, we showed that the Shukla Paksha has higher digestive fire as compared to the Krishna Paksha. We showed that numbers go up come down during Ekadashi, again go up, again come down during second Ekadashi, and so on. I always say that, Charak Shushruth were also data scientists of that time, and that they observed all these numbers, observed this all, and inserted that into, different types of formats to follow Rutucharya, Dinacharya, and so on. That's why, maybe cyclic fasting, cyclic, a lifestyle is very important. We showed all other parameters as well. January to December, they follow almost a very good cyclic natures. So that's why if I know a person here, I can always, tell where that particular person's issue is going. And so, you know, from a predictive power, we can start correcting or taking care of that person in this particular season. So it's very essential that we know the prakriti of a person, vikruti of a person, so we can take corrective actions. How stress is related to various things. We did a large project with Dr. Nagendra S. Vyasa, where we found the preliminary results with respect to diabetes. Now we are doing this India-wide grand project. Now AI has the LLM models from AI is using us to convert all these rules and information and 5 lakh doctors and inputs from the doctors to convert the language into understandable Agni, Ojas, stress, numbers. It talks English. It gives a variety of 9 different languages. We just did 200 Nadi Pariksha in Czech Republic in Prague just 4 days ago, where the ambassador of India in Prague actually did 200 people, Czech Republic, never haven't heard about Ayurveda. They know about yoga, but not much about Ayurveda. They did Nadi Parishad, took the printouts in hand back home. It was a great experience. We talk about diagnostics, organ systems, how to solve, where to solve, what can be panchakrama treatments, yoga treatments, supplements, and so on. So this comes as a lifestyle suggestions book to the doctor, and now the doctor can present to the people. Coming back to Ashtavida Pariksha, talking with respect to tongue, we started collecting tongue selfies of 2,000 people and looking at their colors, textures, edges, how to talk about their acidity, digestive power. Collected a lot of data with respect to faces, 10 years apart. If the data is received in terms of faces, which face features do not change, can we assign Prakruti related features to face with respect to Anguli Praman, different akrutis, different structures, different proportions? Can we have some more information with respect to Prakriti? Prakriti currently is very questionnaire based, slightly subjective, and so on. Can we actually go photo based, create a photo based system so that number of questions reduce or subjectivity reduce, and so on? Just to conclude, Ayurveda is predictive, is preventive. Currently we are working here that when the problem is active, when the complication is high, the health is also reduced, the cost is also high. So we are trying to create a system so that we can find out the problem here itself, so that the cost is saved, the health is improved, and so on. Again, the 4.2 trillion industry in 17 has already become 6.3 in 23, 7, at least 7 trillion by 2025. Can we insert huge amount of Ayurveda in any of these, health, physical activity, personal care, mental wellness, tourism, real estate, and so on? The current government is very, very helping in this front. So we have to make sure that we create Ayurveda buzz in such a way that it becomes sustainable, accessible, affordable, and so on. That's the real beauty of Ayurveda, to solve what grows within, and can be treated from within. So my team, co-founders Paraya and Akshay, we are all come from engineering background. Akshay is a CA. Our main domain experts are Tejaswini and Shruti, but of course there's a huge team of doctors who is supporting us with respect to the first of its kind work in Ayurveda. A lot of work to be done in next 20, 30 years. So thank you very much once again for giving me opportunity to tell you about our work, how Nadi Ayurveda from diagnostic point of view can help to the people. That's my email ID. That's my phone number. I'm also available on the same number on WhatsApp. If you have anything to add and any questions, feel free to ask now. But if the time is less, please feel free to get back to me later as well. So thank you once again for giving me opportunity to talk to you. And once again, I'm sorry I'm not there in physical presence. Thank you so much.
Joshi sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We thought we have missed your presence. Physically, you are not present, but you have made this possible through this online. We are very thankful, and our students have got, and those delegates have got benefited
Thank
because
you.
one of the important area of integration is technology and science, and you are the representative of the technology, and you have shown, and with your devotion to our Ayurveda and making Ayurveda more technology enabled, you are putting your life on that, and you are like a yogi, and we thank you for this effort from our NGOG. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. And sir, I'm on 6th of December. I'm in Varanasi to deliver a lecture. I'm definitely will come to Gorakhpur after that. So I'll take your time and come and meet you. Sorry, I could not meet you today.
Sir, we cordially welcome you for
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
demo. Thank you.
Absolutely present. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Each insight shared today reminds us that integration is not dilution. It's union of wisdom working together for a healthier future. Let's continue the scientific session as we invite our next speaker, Dr. Arvind Chopra, sir. And I request Santi Bhushan, sir, to kindly introduce Arvind Chopra, sir.